G'day, Shane here. Thought I'd have a go at recording one of my poems. This one I only wrote yesterday, actually. I was thinking about some of the stuff that we've been talking about in a group I'm involved with, Haunted Horizons Patreon page, and also on Amy's Crypt Keepers page. I'm a member of that as well. And it's all about ghosts, obviously, and things like that. So I thought I'd write a poem to explain one of my ghost experiences, hence the creepy lighting and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so this is about something that actually did happen to me when I was a young fella, about 21, 22, bloody long time ago. And this happened on the way home. My parents lived up at Kadina, and I was working at the Lobethal Woolen Mills, which is in the Adelaide Hills, and it's about a 2-hour drive. So I was heading back after the Friday night shift, late shift on Friday night. So it was midnight or after midnight when I was heading home. And it's an experience I had on the way. So this is called the Swagmans Ghost. It had been a long, late shift. I was tired, had my fill, from a week of milling blankets at the factory beneath the hill. I gathered my belongings as the workers filed out. "Catch you next week, fellas," was my final parting shout. My car was packed and waiting. 'Twas a drive 2 hours long. That little sky-blue Escort would take me home where I belonged. The night was cold and moonlit. Late shift ending on the chime. With the clock hands on the 12, it was midnight witching time. Long shadows stretched their fingers across the bitumen ahead, as my headlights lit the path of the journey to my bed. From Lobethal to Kersbrook, with a sporty drone I flew, keen to put the miles behind me and the sound of milling too. The tall trees looking creepy, in an honour guard surreal, made me feel uneasy as I gripped my steering wheel. White lines shot beneath me, shadows flew across my beam. It was just as if I'd entered into some horror movie scene. On the Ridge Road, back of Gawler, as I drove half in a trance, it was there I saw the apparition, and I nearly soiled my pants. At first I thought a sheep was out, a movement up ahead, as from the gloom emerged the shape of shoulders and a head. And as I drew up closer, the full form came to be, and I was caught in short surprise at the figure I could see. A man was walking steadily, a pale grey-clad shade, staring at the road ahead of him, as not a flinch he made at the sound of me approaching or the revving of my steed, as I flew along that lonely road at more than legal speed. I could see the worn-out coat he wore, his hat and swag and billy, and I shook my head in disbelief. Had the late hour made me silly? He looked just like the classic swagman from long-gone days of yore, and I wondered what the hell this bloke was walking out here for. His face was white and fresh as snow. His stare was cold and blank, and he didn't cast a shadow on the road or on the bank. I pondered for a moment, perhaps he needs a ride, but my better senses screamed at me, "Don't let that creepy bloke inside." As I rumbled past him, he didn't seem to see the sky blue of my Duco or the dust that came from me. He just kept right on plodding, with his billy in his hand, just as if he were the memory of a long-forgotten land. A land where time stood still, and all that is still dwells, where every now and every then a slip in time quick tells of a moment from our history, a soul from out the past, like some eternal etching for eternity to last. And so I sped away from him, and in my mirror saw him fade, still plodding ever onward, Swagman's memory in a shade. And I wondered on the outcome, should a lift I'd offered him. Would the outcome have been happy, or would the ending turned out grim? And thinking back, I question with the wisdom of my years, was I just a bit delusioned by my weariness and fears? But this I'll tell you truly, that sight won't go away, and I'll see that ghostly swagman till my very dying day. Okay, so that was my poem based on a real experience that I had as a young fella. And this is a picture that I drew of, I don't know how well you can see it. I'll post this on my poetry page, Pots, Poems and Artwork. So I'll put it with the words of the poem so that you can have a read of it if you like. And what I plan to do is have a go at reading some more of my poetry and maybe a couple of my children's books too that I've written, just to get it out there and see if there's a little bit of interest, and maybe some of you might like to pick them up for kids that you know. Anyway, that's it. I'll catch you later. Be good.